Welcome to the Wealth Rebel Show. I'm your resident Wealth Rebel, Emma Wright, and we are diving into yet another interview that I brought to you as part of the Wealth Rebel Show launch on the 18th of September, where I interviewed Anna Weller, author of Your Health is Your Wealth. Anna fully embodies my pillar of health in the Wheel of Wealth, but she fully embodies every aspect of wealth, from well-being in the now. She fully, like, literally lives by her own methods. She dives into the inner well of her well-being in her life and in her business. She has energy with abundance. She's just amazing to be around. She has abundance in the now. She's overflowing. Her lifestyle fully represents everything that she believes in. Her time is mastered. I can't knock anything about the way that Anna embodies wealth. And yeah, she's the author of Your Health is Your Wealth. So without further ado, dive into this amazing conversation right now. Namaste. Hello, Anna Weller. Welcome.
Hello.
Lovely to
Thank,
have you, my love.
thank you for having me. I don't know how you've done this. I don't know how you've done it.
Neither do I. I'm going to go and fall over.
That's why I popped you a message to say, what love are you going to take after this? You need to take
Oh,
some love after this. Go and hug your kids. Go and
they're
do a
not here
yoga session.
today.
Oh no.
I dropped in this morning, but um we have got plans on Friday to do something really abundant at the weekend and to
Lovely.
nurture this, because the build up to a day like this is a lot of energy, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
7 guests, 7 different topics, in essence. But this is what I've really learned to do with hosting a show and practicing this and doing this over time and doing other people's shows, is that I just follow my intuition and I don't overplan this too much, but I do always have a little bit of a framework. So yeah,
Yeah.
Anna Weller,
Yeah.
welcome. Welcome to
Thank you.
the Wealth Rebel
Thank you.
show.
Thank you so
Hi.
much. Yeah,
You
it's really
are welcome.
exciting to be here. Really exciting to be here. It's very kind of you to invite me. It's very, very empowering, isn't it? Very exciting. And I just wanted to thank you for calling me sovereignty. Where did that come from? That's so regal. I have nothing regal about me at all. However, I looked up sovereignty and it actually said, and I'm gonna read it from this. Where have I put it now? When you got my notes, to be free from outside control. And how much does actually, when you look after your health, are you free from outside control? Because there is so much out there to distract us from looking after ourselves. And particularly as a woman, dare I say it? I mean, it could be the same for men, but you're always thinking about other people in your world before yourself. There
Yeah.
is so much going on. So, actually, the biggest complaint I have to manage is I don't have time. That's the
Oh,
biggest
well,
thing.
you would have just loved Nina's session.
Okay.
It's all about time mastery, but it is,
There you
we
go.
have got time. And I think I just want to share a little bit of an intro for you,
Yeah,
to
sure.
really introduce who you are. But something that you've just said before I even forget this is that
Yeah.
I actually think men, someone recently, someone really special in my life recently came in, who was literally putting everybody else's needs before his own, before everything that he wanted to do and create and be and embody. And it was really sad
Mm,
to watch that actually men and women, we all are not nurturing that sovereign part of ourselves. And it
yeah.
does, we don't have to be in the royal family to be sovereign.
No,
And one
no.
thing I get reminded of this, when I was, my first home, on the first home that I really remember was 8 Buckingham Crescent.
Oh,
8 is wealth.
fantastic.
Well, 8 represents wealth and abundance. Buckingham
Yeah, there you
Palace
go. It's
Crescent,
all
and
in there.
it's a big reminder for me when I look back on the messages that I have, that we are sovereign beings. We have sovereignty, and that is why you are so perfect as the segue into the health pillar. You know, just to give you a beautiful little introduction into why I wanted you, and when, I've known you for a little while, but I really
Mm,
feel over the last few
mm,
weeks we've gotten to know each other on a deeper level just by having this
yeah,
conversation, quite
sure.
coincidentally at Node
It
that day.
was,
It-
yeah, yeah.
mm, you're bringing the health pillar of wealth really to life. We talked ahead of today about health sovereignty, the meaning of health sovereignty, what it means to be empowered by your own sovereignty and knowing that you
Mm.
are sovereign. You're perfectly representing that. You look amazing always. You just look amazing. You glow. Your book, Your Health is Your Wealth, speaks volumes, right? The
Mm,
fact that you
mm,
launched a book, Your Health is Your Wealth, you know that this is
mm.
the case. You're a Pilates teacher. That's how I met you, actually, at Saunton.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, it was.
Saturday morning Saunton Sands Pilates class. Um,
Hmm.
which, my goodness, it's so amazing, but in equal measure, really, really hard. But your workouts change the body, they change the mind. They're really, really powerful because you hold positions, you flow, you energetically do things, and then the shape of your body changes. And you
Yeah.
can see, because your body is incredible. You love the work that you do. You love to work with women your age.
Hmm.
You talk about
Hmm.
women, as well, women in their 50s going through menopause. You have 2 books that you've created. You share this amazing knowledge with this life-changing force that owning your health, is so important. How passionate you are about this impact. You're very much against masking the symptoms of ill health with supplements and creams, quick
Yeah.
fixes. We don't want
Yeah.
that. We want to really embody what it means. And one thing that
Hmm.
you firmly believe is that methods of losing weight can actually be ruining your health. And I think that
Sure.
is so important. And I
Yeah.
believe that, even coming
Yeah.
from a wealth perspective, a mirrored
Yeah.
perspective of wealth, is that
Mm.
fundamentally, when we're on a diet, a budget is the same form of a
Yeah.
diet of money, you're
Yeah.
ruining your wealth. You're living
Yeah.
to something that's gonna be limiting you, and it's
Yeah.
all limiting. So it's about shifting it on its head. So I just want to dive into the story of you, and I really want to get to know you on an even deeper level, because
Okay.
start here, right? You started in the arena of control. You talked about this coming from a place of anxiety, people pleasing, lack
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
confidence.
Very much so.
Yeah, tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about your journey, my love.
I mean, it seemed to me that when I got my first placement, it was in retail and retail management, and everything seemed to tick along nicely, and I seemed to function well. But it was an era of, from an exercise point of view, very uneducated exercise point of view, and I can say that now because it was the low fat era. So I was busy undoing a lot of stability within my body. Little did I know. And but on an emotional level, just a bag of anxiety and lack of confidence, and hiding behind a mask. Um, and when you're in retail, you have to work long hours anyway. So I wasn't at home much. Um, but yeah, that whole thing of wearing a mask at home. Um, but I was only thriving in the workplace. It does come out eventually. I have to say, you can't wear a mask for long. But because I traveled a lot, I think one of the things why I could wear my mask a lot was I didn't actually let many people in. And at this time, I was actually doing a lot of exercise for myself and just going with the flow of what was in the industry. The industry was absolutely full of how thin can you be? Um, And, now obviously as I've, got my qualifications and learned exactly how the body works, and top level, I might add, I'm not a medical professional, but enough to know that you can really undo the balance and stability, and your wealth comes from having that homeostasis state, that wealth is balance. And so with every avenue I take now, physically, emotionally, and mentally, it's always encouraging women to think outside the box and not follow a lot of social media pressure on what to take to get the fix, because it will always be a plaster. It will never get to the root cause. Um, so in the process, it's been sort of a little bit like, right, okay, let's start taking off that mask a little bit. Because then as I started to move in different fields of my work, I had opportunity to get qualifications into the arena I really wanted to move into. And that was your health and fitness. So as I was studying, I was still working, but gaining that wealth of knowledge that helped me understand how to not wear this mask so much, and the freedom that came from being a lot more empowered, that actually I can have a freer mind, I can have a freer emotions. I was allowed to have those emotions. I didn't have to let people control me any longer. I was allowed to say something. I was allowed to come forward with how I felt. Emotions are not meant to be there to keep to yourself. Emotions are meant to be there to be shared. And the thing with doing exercise, when you start really looking after your health, you are empowered actually to start feeling more confident about releasing this inward baggage of imbalance, and lack of confidence is one of those things. And it started to flip on itself. And I have to say as well, it wasn't all tickety boo. It didn't all flow naturally to begin with. It was a journey, but I knew that I could go there because, I mean, especially during COVID, I think a lot of people have been affected by COVID in their emotions, in their physical well-being, in their mind. And so there can be periods of time where you start to feel all these old emotions that sit and fit with wearing a mask suddenly come back like a gremlin. And yet, if you can, uh, like you were saying a minute ago, find those people and surround yourself with people that really lift you up instead of pull you down, this is where the whole me started to come out for real. And
Mm.
that was a journey, a massive journey, a massive journey. But what it did do is allow the flow of a profession that I feel so passionately about and believe is an underpinning skill behind people's ability to do their work and their family life. It's functional. Everything I do, I try and relate, even though it's physiological looking after people, I try and relate to them how empowering it makes them feel within their home environment, within their work environment, within their relationships, and how well you can feel and have the confidence to take you from a place, because having been there myself and getting to midlife and beyond, this last weekend, very beyond, it's, age is a number, and you can feel a lot more confident, less anxious, not by just with the old mindset of coming to a class being to physically make you well, but how functional it can be to lift your emotions and lift your mindset so that you are not changing who you are, but you are changing your, maybe the people you spend then time with, maybe the people that, so like your friend circle, how you are at home. I mean, this is a particular thing that I'm facing when I talk to women in the menopause. And there's going to be a new chapter that I'm actually going to address. I'm going to interview a lot of men, and I'm going to interview them, not to try and change them, but I want to know how they feel having been through with their women in the peri and menopause, and just do interviews that generally probably will make a lot of people laugh, but that is going to be the sort of like end of my book, to really, really bring to life, not to point the finger, but to air a man's view on living with their menopausal woman and how funny that can be. It can be very empowering. And I don't want to fix the men, that's somebody else's job. But it's just relationship, how the women can feel very empowered instead of feeling the lack of confidence. Because for me, it was a real challenge. I moved in with my husband when I was, how old were we? So it was lockdown. So I was already turning, no, I turned 50. So we moved together 4 years ago. So yeah, 51 to move in with another 50-year-old. Now, that is a challenge, has its challenges in itself. I also have a child very, very late on in life. So I currently have a 13-year-old and I'm 55. So there is a lot of different family dimensions there. Now, looking after yourself, personally, I feel it's one of the most empowering things you can do to be strong enough to give, being a mum, a wife, a partner, and to empower relationships. And I've said nothing to Gary, but he's seen what he likes and how we've changed and how we've grown together, instead of menopause becoming the what's the word for it, where you feel like you're tripping over each other all the time, and unfortunately in some situations apart. But my relationship with Gary has been the first relationship that I have ever had where somebody hasn't tried to change who I am. They've just stood alongside me. And similarly, from his point of view, we're two people that have come together and we're just walking side by side. It's a very empowering situation to be. But I think he's seen how I've come from a very unconfident, anxious, unstable, unbalanced life. Physically getting the knowledge, putting it in place, giving it out there to my people in my classes. And it's all entwined. It's beautiful. It's entwined. So in as much as I'm giving out to people in my classes, that is happening at home. You know, we've been wearing our heart on our sleeves and giving to each other and walking the talk. And there's been times where it's been like this, but we've got through it. And I think you're putting the priority of who you are and gaining confidence through your physical wellness, understanding how to get that homeostasis state, the balance of your hormones without going into detail. Men and women, it's fundamental to your mental state. And so classes for me, I don't just have people come into class to fix them just physiologically. People come to class to learn functionally how they can be better in every walk of their life. It's completely holistic. And I thrive on that. I'm thankful for that. Because going to the gym of old was always about the size of muscles and how thin you could be and how small you could be and how skinny you could be. And low fat this and low fat that. That's my history. And you know what? I'm still finding women who are still on low fat diets.
Mm.
And they are crashing. They are crashing in their menopausal journey because of it. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, far away. I feel like you want to ask me a question.
Yeah, well, I don't know the science behind the fats, like, and the menopause. I'm curious about that. I'd love to know a little bit more about that. There are so many things that I want to dive into here, but whilst we're
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
why is it? Why do women need fat in their diet? Why do we need that?
There's a top line fact that I can share that really sort of makes you sit up and think. Your hormones are made of fats. So why would you go on a low fat diet?
Mm.
If you want balance in your endocrine system, which is a word that some will understand, but it's basically the way your body talks to each other to gain a state of balance. That's the easiest way I can explain without going into detail. But to get balance for your mind, for your physical state, and for your emotions, it's so holistic. It's never one thing.
Yeah.
Going to the gym or doing a class or a form of exercise, it's to ramp up your ability to gain balance.
Mm.
It is not on its own a fixed state. You can't change and get balance just through exercise. It's one avenue. So I always talk to people about what they're putting in their mouths with regards to food and how they are, hydration. It's such a bigger thing, and way more than fad diets.
Yeah.
I beg midlife women to come off fad diets
I think
because,
anybody at any stage of life shouldn't
yeah,
be on a diet.
on a diet, no,
Because when you're on a diet, you're limiting yourself. You're not learning to love yourself. You're not learning to love food. We're
yeah,
thinking then food is bad. Food is nourishment. Let's really love everything that we're going to put into our mouth, that's going to go into our bodies, and it's going to
yeah,
nurture us. When we love
yeah,
food and then we have a really healthy relationship, for me, relationships are everything. Relationships with food, relationship with money, relationships with your partners,
sure, sure,
relationship with friends, or
yeah,
romantic having a relationship
yes,
that everything, and it
it's
all comes
everything.
down fundamentally to the relationship with yourself.
Mm.
Because when
Yeah,
you love yourself, like
mm,
you are your best friend in the whole world, because you are loving self first, you are going to feed yourself with the best food, with the best everything, the best rhythms and routines and
yes,
exercises. And fundamentally, you're going to come into a state of balance. Balance is a really important word. The word that came up to me when over the last week when I've been at the I need to tell you about the retreat when I catch up with you.
oh yeah, I'd love to know,
The
yeah,
retreat, the word that came up was equanimity. Oh, I've probably
right,
pronounced it incorrectly, but that equilibrium state
yeah,
where
yeah,
you are completely in balance,
mm,
you know, and that comes from practicing a lot of the things that you
I
do in
practice,
Pilates,
yeah,
practicing your balancing, practicing
yeah,
holding yourself, practicing your mastery of your emotions. When we lock away our emotions, we are storing an incomplete fight, flight, freeze response. We
yes,
we go into fight, flight, and freeze, and we release
yeah,
emotions. We release anger or stress or sadness. And if we push it down and say, "I can't have emotions," especially men, actually,
yeah,
and
okay, yeah,
you
mm,
can't cry, you can't
mm,
have emotions, you can't experience love, because love is really scary, because I'm not going to be masculine. And this is why I think the paradox, the
mm,
duality here is actually
mm,
really, really important, especially around
mm.
the word menopause. Why is it called menopause? Because it happens to
Yeah, men.
men, right? But it happens
Do
to
you
both.
know? Do you know there is a male menopause, by the way?
Yeah.
It's called andropause. It is scientifically. It's a menopause. And why they didn't get the menopause and we didn't get something else, I don't know. But it's andropause.
So
So
when
that
we
there
go
is.
through fight, flight, and freeze,
Yeah.
right? And we
Mm,
have we have the thought or the trigger that triggers the emotions. We then
yeah.
have emotions, and then we crush them in. When we've got
Yeah.
incomplete cycles, and that is the incomplete cycles that are locked into the body, which is really, really detrimental to our health. It leads to inflammation. It leads to all sorts of problems.
Mm,
When we start
mm,
releasing emotions and going, okay, and this is so easy to do, to complete all of these cycles through all of the things that you're talking about, and
mm,
you start to
mm,
release that sadness, embrace
mm,
the love,
mm,
cry,
mm,
without, judgment of yourself,
mm,
complete
mm,
cycles, and then your body will start to heal. It's really empowering
mm,
to really embody those emotions. A
mm.
thing that came up to me as well when you were talking was
Yeah,
the book, The Chimp Paradox, right? I read The Chimp Paradox in 2007.
right.
Okay. My friend gave it to me. I think you need to read this because I was in my relationship that I've been in for the last 20 years, and I'm only recently getting out, and I don't want to talk too much about this, but at the time my friend
Sure.
gave me The Chimp Paradox, and in the book Steve Peters, who wrote The Chimp Paradox, say
Mm,
that you can work on relationships, and you can adapt to other people's beings that might irritate you a little bit. But if fundamentally you have to change yourself, or you expect somebody else to change for you to be in that state of
mm,
bliss,
mm,
you will never be right for each other. And the Chimp Paradox is all about mindset. And
mm.
you just made me remember that one line when you said, you should never have to, you are in this state now, Anna, where you don't have to change for your partner because you are fully allowed,
Can be
you-
who I am.
right? Not, you don't
Mm,
even have permission because you are fully yourself
mm.
and fully
Yeah,
you. And that
yeah,
has allowed you to thrive. It,
yeah.
you've
Has.
given yourself permission to be you 100%, but
Mm,
you've also welcomed someone's come into your life and they're
mm.
not changing you. If they were changing you, they wouldn't work anymore
Meant
because
to
you
be.
have this
Yeah,
awareness that you have to be
yeah.
like that. And
Mm,
recently I experienced something really similar where I was me, and I was
mm.
100% me, and I didn't change. And it really set a standard of any relationship that I have with anyone, whether it's
Anyone?
a
Yeah,
man that's in a relationship,
yeah,
whether it's a man that I'm in a romantic relationship, whether
yeah,
it's a friend, whether it's a
yeah,
client, I'm
yeah,
going to be me. And you will either, if you don't love me for me,
yeah,
this Yorkshire
mm,
girl that literally
yeah,
speaks her truth and is loud and proud, it ain't going to happen. We're
yeah,
not right for each other. We're not going to vibe. I don't expect you to change either. It's
yeah.
it's
That's
that,
right.
that there's going to be someone that's right for you, and you will resonate with
Mm,
someone that just really gets you, and then you
mm,
magnetize that in. But you only really magnetize that in at that point in life
mm,
when you have done
mm.
that work on yourself, that inner work
Mm.
on yourself.
100%, 100%. And I think actually, standing back and just helping women, just signposting them, because I do work with a lot of women. I don't generally work with guys. I get guys in my Pilates classes, and that's fine, and they need that support 100%. And absolutely, I'm very welcoming of guys to the plug because they need the centering, they need the support for their backs. They are getting injured. If
Mm.
it comes down to physiological support, fundamental, men and women. um, but you mentioned about inflammation. I want to touch on that because I've changed my model recently of support now, where actually the biggest thing, if I could just call a thing for a moment, if I was to redesign my model, it was always on the basis of 4 pillars. And a lot of people use it and it's all out there. And yet, at the end of the day, if there was an overriding factor of what has distracted people from getting balance in their mind, in their bodies, and in their emotions, it would be stress.
Mm.
And people's ability to manage stress and not having any understanding, because it's not, when you go to the doctor for something, no disrespect to that profession, but they're always going to give you a plaster. They don't have time to teach you root cause and how to manage your situation. And that's one of the things which I've tried to expand on, is that these, and fundamentally, I'm going to talk midlife women, but hear me when I say the model has changed now, because there is a generation of young people where the mothers who are going through midlife are going through midlife younger, and their daughters are also suffering simultaneously. And because the knowledge is not out there, and my heartbeat is to grab those mothers and get them working with their daughters, if not directly for me to the daughters, although that's a very large group and I probably need to realign things. But if I can work with the mothers, then the mothers will be more equipped to work with their daughters, won't they? And the idea is to understand that stress comes from every angle. And I think it's been a missed diagnosis that it only comes with people in business, in work environments who are working long hours, give no time to themselves, etc., etc. And yet, inflamed states come in from every avenue of our lives.
100%. What you've said just really, ties it up in the fact that, we've talked about emotions and not eating fats means that we don't, and by the way, guys don't eat fats either because they feel like they have to have this body that has literally abs of steel and they can't have any ounce of fat. And so guys and girls are like on this no fat diet most of the time. And then therefore we wonder why they can't manage emotions. If you're not managing emotions, guess what you're in? You're in a state of stress.
Yeah,
You're in a relationship that you should be in where you're expected to change and not be you. If you're not, it's not just corporate. It's not even just people that are going through big traumas, like proper, if you were to
that's
have
right.
PTSD,
Yeah.
it's for every day.
Mm,
If you can't be you and
mm,
managing your emotions and you're having to change
mm.
yourself, you are constantly in a state of stress. How do I know? That was my life for a really long period of
Yeah,
time. I couldn't be
sure.
me, and it wasn't
Yeah,
anybody's fault. It was just that I wasn't in alignment with someone that was right for me. And I don't
that's
want to talk
right.
too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
about
yeah.
it. I don't want to go into the ins and outs of my personal life, but I'm sharing it because it is so detrimental to that inflammation in your body and disease if you are
Mm.
day to day in stress, because you're in fight, flight, and freeze. If you go into a room and you're on eggshells because if you talk too loud,
100%. Yeah,
you'll be like, oh my God,
yeah,
trigger that person. Or even if you go
yeah,
into a room and you're speaking and that person doesn't hear you and you
yeah.
get angry. And then because you got angry because that person is so on their phone and they don't listen
Mm,
to you ever
mm,
or even
mm,
see you and see that you exist. And then you literally leave that room and you're angry. And then you get blamed from your anger because you're too emotional, because you're a woman. You're too emotional. And then you block down that emotion. You cry or you just don't know what to do.
mm,
You do that
mm.
every day for as long as you can remember.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Mm. Yeah, and I think there is a lot more, and as you know now, and you are promoting um that just be,
Yeah.
don't change who you are. And there are a lot. I remember changing everything about me to make sure that I was that person's he wanted me in his life.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about relationships, but from, that drove my choices and it drove my health in turn. So from personal experience and re-education, because it is re-educating,
Yeah.
every time there is something out there that I have to go and study, keep my qualifications up to date. It's so important because we're learning all the time about the human body. We're learning all the time about the interrelationship between nourishment. And I'm not talking diets, I'm talking nourishment.
Mhm.
It's not how little you eat, it's how nourishing that meal is.
Yeah.
Um, and there's
And how
no,
delicious it is. How does it taste?
yeah,
How does it
yes,
smell? When you put things in
yes,
your food that nourish
yeah,
you, guess what? They
yeah,
smell amazing. The herbs, I
Yeah.
get in my garden. I feel so blessed. Actually, I'm in a rental in Braunton, and I've been so blessed. So people come here and they're like, "How did you get this rental in Braunton?" I'm like, "I do not know. I have um, rosemary growing right here. That
Lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a bay leaf tree in the backyard that I go and pick the
Perfect.
bay leaves off, and
Yeah.
then I
Mm.
smell it, and I'm like, and I say to baby Rose and Harry, smell this food, put it in, you nourish it, it tastes amazing, and then just imagine how that fresh nourishment goes
Yeah.
on to change your
Yeah.
physiology in your body, right?
Yeah. It's so fundamental, and I think there's blocks.
Mm,
So when I support people, I haven't got time, as we've discussed. Um, Lack
yeah,
of understand because they want to be quick, so they
yeah,
want things. So quite often, I won't do recipes. I actually write a shopping list for people and say, make sure this is what's fresh.
that is
I
fantastic.
write what they should have in their larder. And so when it's available, you have stepped over one of the biggest hurdles in people looking after getting nourishing food inside them because they don't know what to actually go and buy
Yeah.
in the first place. So that's a hurdle you have
Where
to
is where
overcome.
do you get fats from? You know, you know,
100%.
I literally I have always got olive oil or even, some type of oil, or I do, I cook with butter, but I don't have huge amounts of it. I eat the fat. I when I cook a chicken,
Mm,
and I
mm,
and I do. I'm not vegan. And I have thought long and hard about that switch.
mm,
But still, I love to roast a chicken, and I
mm.
literally eat everything. And then the juices that come out, I use that and I put that fat into something, and then I eat the
Yeah, great.
chicken. I
Yeah,
eat all of it, and I
yeah.
save every part of it because
Do you
it's
savor the bones?
so I sometimes
Do you
make a
cook the
broth
bones?
with it. I can
Rough?
read
Yeah.
it, and then I
Get broth
drink it.
in.
Not always, because I don't always have the time, so I don't beat myself
No,
up
it is. Yeah.
everything, but I do that 1% difference. And then I love to cook my
Mm,
vegetables
mm,
in some of the fats that I might have done the chicken.
mm,
I just it's all comes together
mm.
in that place, but people just don't have that awareness. So it's so amazing that when you create a shopping list, you're helping people to see what
I'm overcoming a hurdle. Yeah, it's overcoming hurdles and making sure if you've got it in the house, you'll use it. If you haven't got it in the house, you'll go for the quickest and easiest and highly processed. The choice will likely to be highly processed
one of the
and grab
biggest
it.
things then is not having the highly processed. Don't buy it. It's
Yeah.
when you don't have it there,
Mm, yeah.
you're not going to
Just
be.
don't have it in the house.
Or
Just
one
don't
thing
have it in the house.
someone said to me is, if you put all the things that you really want and then some of the backups high, and you have to
Yeah.
reach for something,
Yeah. Mm,
reach for the other things that maybe are the tin of
mm,
baked beans, that
mm,
sometimes you just need as a mummy. You want to have a can of baked
mm,
beans, but then you have
mm.
the nourishing food really accessible and you can see it and it's on the observatory level
Yeah,
because you are using all your different senses then, and it
that's
feels
right.
to reach. Your mind's going, oh. I found that was really, really helpful for me. But I literally, since I've moved to Braunton, um, I don't have, I don't waste food, and I barely have anything in my cupboards. I
Oh
literally go
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
buy what I need. I have aisles that I won't even go walk down.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is fresh. I have
Yeah.
cans. I do use cans. I use refill, and this has taken years to build.
Oh, yeah, it's forming a
Wake
habit.
Yeah,
Forming
I didn't
habits.
wake up. It was that 1% change that
Mm,
that I brought into my life over
mm,
time.
mm.
And I think, when you educating people, time is an illusion. You know, we are not short of time. We just believe we have to be in a rush because we're
Sure.
so conditioned that if I don't do this right
Yeah.
now, because of how
Yeah.
the brain works, the brain perceives everything as that we're going to die. It's
Mm, yeah.
everything is a lion. There's a lion there. I either fight, flight, freeze, do
That's
these
right.
things, or
That's
I'm going
right.
to die. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds really extreme, but
Mm.
fundamentally, it sees an email pop up in the same way as a lion. If I don't respond to this, I'm going to die.
Sure. Sure.
When we can really alchemize, create balance, learn to
Yes.
master our hormones, realize
Yes.
that that email is not a lion, that we're
Yeah.
not going to die, that we
Mm.
can slow life down. It's amazing how we
Mm.
find the space to go in the garden and pick the rosemary or smell the food that you're making and love what you're cooking, take more time. When you have more time and less stress, you feel more relaxed and you're more effective in your
Yeah.
careers, in your
And I think it's
life.
helping people to understand what are their priorities,
Yeah.
because I believe that a lot of people that come to me arrive in a fight and flight mode.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they've come for some level of calm, and they're doing it first of all physiologically. And that's wonderful because there's a lot of benefit physiologically.
Mm. What
In
do you mean by
turn,
physiologically? What does
just
that mean?
changes within the body.
Yeah.
So we do exercise, and I think a lot of people, this is mindsets because of what we see on social media, have driven a perception of exercise that it is for hard and fast aerobic activity to make a change because you want to change the shape in your body, or you want to look thin, or you want to lose weight, okay, by way of example. And a lot of that slows down as you get older, but you can make it more efficient, and it can have a calming state. Oh gosh, there's so much to talk about here. So when you're talking about physiological changes, you are talking about adaptations that are necessary, and I believe, first of all, to improve your health.
Mm.
And then I encourage people that will come to my class, when you start looking after your health, your body just does the changing. And actually, do you know what? Then you lose weight.
Your body is really intelligent. We don't give
Very.
the body knows
We
how
don't
to
give it.
the body knows how to mend itself. The
Yeah.
body knows, like when you cut your finger, it just mends itself, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
body is
Yeah.
amazing. Why don't we just
Yes.
trust that the body knows what it's doing? All we need to
Sure.
do is
Because, shall I
nourish
tell
it.
you why? Because we're bombarding it. We're
Mm,
bombarding it with every activity. So if you are moving through different stages in your life and you are shifting age, why do you not think that everything that you did when you were 20, why isn't it working now?
mm.
Now, if you step back and see exercise is to gain adaptations positively, whether that be to improve your metabolism. Because let's get this and burst this bubble out there now. No one has a fast or slow metabolism. It's either efficient or it's not. And
That's great.
my,
You have an efficient metabolism then,
it's
because
like managing your time. It's
yeah,
like managing. How can you become more efficient in your day and
yeah,
not feel like you're running around like a blue ass fly trying to get everything done?
yeah.
Step back and think, right, okay, I'm now 40 plus, 50 plus. So if I'm not seeing changes, I want them to come to me and go, I'm not seeing changes,
Mm.
and embrace physical adaptations from a different perspective.
Love that.
And that takes a little bit of re-education, and I have to explain. So part and parcel of reason why I did the course and wrote a book was to equip people with the knowledge that the doctors don't have time to give. But
Mm.
top line, because I'm not a medical profession, top line, what happens when you cannot start, where the efficiency of losing weight in your 20s and 30s, oh, I could eat whatever I wanted. And now I can't, I've got this ring around my middle and I can't shift it. And
Yeah.
no amount of aerobic activity is doing it. So these are the sorts of questions I get generally because I have a lot of midlife women following me. Okay. But I see the need of a lot of young girls with the same issue now. And
Mm.
why is that? Why is that? Why are things not happening? And it's way bigger picture than, because it's environmental factors. It's they're not educated about the way they choose food. They're not aware about how distinctly important it is to understand your menstrual cycle
Yeah,
and eat
100%.
around menstrual cycle,
Oh,
exercise around menstrual
I'm
cycle.
aware of your body in those different cycles, but I've gone my whole life being literally shamed the week before you turn into like this person, and like you're on your period, you're on the blob, blah blah blah. Since I have lived in solitude in my place in Braunton, I don't have these like things being said to me, and it's amazing because I'm aware of it. I can see the emotions, but I don't become the person that I was in that situation, which was really shame, because shame is a really low vibration. It's like the lowest form of vibration
Oh,
it
yeah,
on the scale or in the frequency when when we're talking about vibrations and frequency.
yeah.
But I notice things like, oh my gosh, I need way more protein. I know my body's craving fat. It needs these things, and I nourish it and I eat and I don't hold back. And then I feel my body bloating, as in I can feel myself having period. I know I retain water around my hips. I see my body because I've lost weight and I'm so in my body. I notice how it grows and adapts, and I'm like, this is just because the week before and it'll be gone next week. Um,
Sure.
I really
Mm,
know the ebbs and flows of my body.
mm,
I feel the emotions.
mm,
I feel the tiredness. I know to have an Epsom salt bath. I know to nourish
mm,
myself. I know not
mm,
to put stressful things in my diary.
mm,
So if it's that
mm.
week, I don't have a talk. I'm really
Yeah,
careful what I take
yeah,
on,
mm,
and that
yeah,
is and it's so abundant for me, because then when I still know what I want to do in the month, I then load the things that I'm going to do in that energetic bit afterwards, when I come out of that time and I am full of energy, my body's filled,
mm.
and knowing your body in that cycle is really really empowering.
It's empowering. It's really empowering. And you said something there that's really important. It's not one thing. You listed a whole bunch
Oh,
of
my
things there
whole
you did
being.
to create.
It's my whole being, and
It's the
having that
whole thing.
awareness. And I've had
Yeah.
to take a lot of
Mm,
time to take that step back and give
mm.
myself permission. I had to take radical changes, right?
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
literally walking out of my life as it
yeah,
was, and
yeah.
being alone, being in
Mm,
solitude. And,
mm,
did it have to come to this? Maybe not, had more education been out that way, but, equally, I think it did for me. So that's fine. And I'm
mm,
totally at peace with
mm,
that, because I don't live it with
mm,
regrets. I don't blame
mm,
anyone else ever. I do
mm.
not blame. I just know that certain things were not right for me. But you just said, one of the things that really wanted to talk to you about quickly, and we're kind of getting to the end of our time now, because we're going to
Yeah,
have Jack
sure.
coming in, and
Oh, bless.
I
Yeah.
need to go
Okay.
the
Yeah.
woo. Um, is very honest there. Joe Wellstead on his show. If you listen it out, it's on the podcast now. You can go and
Mm,
listen to Joe's
mm,
episode, talking about electrolytes, how we need
yes.
electrolytes, because it's the
Mm,
electrodes, the
mm,
magnesium, the things that
mm,
help the
mm,
energy flow. When you
mm.
drink, and I've got it in my water, right? When you drink the
Yeah.
electrolytes,
Mm, mm.
they intuitively know where to go in your body.
Yeah.
It's so smart. The body, the body knows where to move the electrolytes. But if you are blocked with
Mm,
inflammation because you're
mm.
not
Oh,
able to,
yeah.
if you've got
That's
stress,
right.
the electrolytes can't
Yeah.
get to where it needs to get to. And that's why it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And if I could just say very quickly, I am here to take the hand of women, girls, women, grandmothers, to encourage them on that, because it's not one thing, it's tokens of healthy choices every day to get rid of what's in the way, get rid of blocks, whether that's mentally, emotionally, physically, and make a contribution every day, several contributions when they feel more empowered. And as they start to make that one choice, second choice, third choice, they need somebody to just come alongside them and just say, how about this? How about that? So I have a community page, and the community page is that people can drop into and go, hey, have you thought about this today, guys? And some people have literally gone to their water bottles, and that's BPA free, by the way. and literally drunk the moment I have messaged that out, because they haven't thought that hydration will make them clearer in their thinking process.
If you are thirsty, you're already dehydrated, and
that's right.
That's why
That's
drinking
right.
water needs to be a habitual thing. That's why it needs to be like the first thing we think about in the morning. I have a lemon. I think about a cup of tea, but I have a lemon water now with some ocean in it, actually.
Yeah.
So, and it's that habit. And then I habitually, I drink water. I've got my water right here, and I'm just constantly sipping from that beautiful ocean to create that. Oh,
but you're motivated. You're motivated because you have understanding. And this is where I think fundamentally is that it's very empowering. When you have knowledge, you are empowered. And if you can understand your body,
my love, and I really want you
I know we could talk for ages, couldn't we?
You a wealth rebel. What does wealth really mean to you in a nutshell, my love?
How I make room for my self-care every single day through simple token gestures of love to my body.
Self. It comes back to self every time, doesn't it? Self.
And you don't apologize for looking after self. Don't apologize.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You are a living, shining example of health being your wealth, 100%. You live and breathe what you believe in. You've created this beautiful kind of framework, and the book is there. We'll drop the link to the book in the show notes. Please make sure you share that with me so we can make sure.
I will do. I will do.
Really appreciate
it. And now go for a wee. Go for a wee.
Namaste.
Namaste.